What if the biggest threat to your business isn't failure? It's success. Not slow decline, not bankruptcy, but explosive growth. Because sometimes the thing you pray for is the very thing that destroys you. This is the story of a startup that did everything right, until it didn't. 3 years ago, a small team of 5 launched a software platform from a cramped apartment. 2 developers, 1 designer, a marketing mind, and a founder named Adrian. They weren't chasing fame. They were solving a real problem, and people loved it. In the first 6 months, they hit 10,000 users. In the first year, 100,000. Investors started calling. Podcasts invited them. Tech blogs wrote glowing headlines. Fastest growing platform of the year. Adrian told his team, "This is just the beginning." He was right, but not in the way he imagined. Growth is addictive. Every week brought higher revenue. Every month brought new hires. They moved into a modern office. Glass walls, open space, energy everywhere. They raised funding, big funding. With capital came expectations. Scale faster. Capture the market. Hire aggressively. Expand internationally. And so they did. They opened 2 new departments within 3 months. They tripled their staff in half a year. They entered 4 new markets simultaneously. On the outside, it looked unstoppable. On the inside, cracks were forming. Here's the part nobody talks about. Growth magnifies everything. If your structure is weak, growth amplifies weakness. If your communication is unclear, growth multiplies confusion. If your culture is fragile, growth fractures it. And Adrian didn't see it coming, because revenue kept rising, which meant everything must be fine, right? Not exactly. The first warning sign was small. Customer support tickets started piling up. The product team was too busy building new features to stabilize the existing ones. New hires didn't fully understand the core system. Departments stopped talking to each other. Marketing promised features that engineering hadn't approved. Sales offered custom deals operations couldn't fulfill. Meetings multiplied. Clarity disappeared. Velocity slowed. But revenue still looked strong. So no one panicked. Then came the second sign. Burn rate. When they were small, expenses were predictable. Now, new offices, high salaries, aggressive ad spend, expansion costs, management layers. They justified it with one sentence. We're investing in growth. And technically, they were. But they weren't investing in infrastructure. They were investing in acceleration. There's a difference. Acceleration without structure is chaos in disguise. One afternoon, a senior engineer resigned. Then another. Then the head of operations. Not because the company was failing, but because it was exhausting. Nobody knew who was responsible for what. Priorities changed weekly. The vision blurred. The company that once felt focused now felt frantic. Adrian worked 16-hour days trying to hold it together. But leadership isn't about working harder. It's about building systems that work without you. And that's what was missing. The turning point came quietly. A major product update failed. Servers crashed. Users complained publicly. Refund requests spiked. For the first time, growth stopped. Not declined. Stopped. That plateau exposed everything. Investors began asking difficult questions. Why are costs so high? Why is churn increasing? Where is operational control? Adrian didn't have clean answers, because systems had never been built for this scale. They had scaled revenue, but not structure. Here's the hard truth. A startup can survive being small, cannot survive being big without discipline. When you grow fast, complexity grows faster. More people means more communication channels. More products means more maintenance. More customers means more expectations. If your foundation isn't reinforced, growth becomes weight. And weight collapses weak structures. Adrian finally made a decision most founders avoid. He slowed down. He froze hiring. He paused expansion. He cut marketing spend. Investors resisted. Employees worried. But Adrian realized something powerful. Speed is optional. Stability is not. They brought inexperienced operators. They mapped processes. They clarified roles. They simplified the product. They reduced feature releases and focused on reliability. For 6 painful months, growth numbers looked unimpressive. But internally, something changed. Calm returned. Clarity returned. Ownership returned. The chaos began to shrink. Revenue didn't skyrocket again overnight. But churn decreased. Customer satisfaction improved. Team retention stabilized. Expenses aligned with reality. The company became profitable, not just promising. And something unexpected happened. When they restarted growth, it felt different, measured, intentional, sustainable. They weren't chasing expansion anymore. They were building endurance. Let's pause the story, because this isn't just about startups. This applies to careers, to investments, to personal ambition. We often believe faster is better, bigger is better, more is better, but better is better. If you grow your income without growing discipline, you collapse financially. If you grow your team without growing leadership, you collapse culturally. If you grow opportunity without growing structure, you collapse strategically. Growth is a multiplier. It magnifies strength. It magnifies weakness. Choose what it multiplies. There's a reason many businesses fail after raising large funding. Not because money is bad, but because money removes friction. And friction forces discipline. When resources are limited, you prioritize. When capital is abundant, you expand. And expansion without clarity is expensive confusion. Adrian eventually reflected on his biggest mistake. It wasn't scaling. It was scaling without sequence. He expanded externally before stabilizing internally. He optimized for speed before optimizing for structure. He chased visibility before building durability. And that nearly destroyed everything. So what are the lessons? First, build systems before scale. Document processes. Define ownership. Clarify communication lines. Structure feels slow, but chaos is slower. Second, watch your burn rate like oxygen. Revenue growth can hide financial instability. Cash flow discipline is not optional. Third, protect culture during expansion. Every new hire reshapes identity. Growth should strengthen values, not dilute them. Fourth, slow down before you break. Momentum is exciting, but sustainable success requires strategic pauses. Here's the paradox. The strongest businesses don't grow the fastest. They grow the longest. Anyone can sprint. Few can endure. And endurance builds wealth. Not viral spikes. Not hype. Not headlines. Systems. Consistency. Resilience. Today, Adrian's company is half the size it once projected it would be. But it's twice as profitable. And 10 times more stable. He no longer chases explosive growth. He builds controlled expansion. Because now he understands something most founders learn too late. Growth is not the goal. Longevity is. So if you're building something, ask yourself, are you building momentum or are you building structure? Because when success arrives, and it might arrive suddenly, it will test your foundation. And foundations decide survival. Success doesn't destroy companies. Unprepared success does. Build wisely. Grow intentionally. And remember, the strongest trees aren't the ones that grow fastest. They're the ones whose roots grow first.